Hi, Lisa Gifford here, and today we have Mr. Greg McCarthy with us, and he has come to us with an amazing project that we can make for charity. So Greg, tell us what you're making for us today.
Today we are making the ultimate walker bag, and first of all I'd like to go over some of the basic instructions, which we'll start with the materials list. You're going to need at least a yard of fabric. You're going to need Bosal inner form, single-sided fusible or similar, decor bond, single-sided fusible or similar. This is a charity project, so please use whatever you have on hand. In making it, I used the Martelli roller, which is 2.5 by 34 inches, a Martelli rotary cutter, Martelli clips, Martelli chalk pencil, Martelli quilting paddles. It'd be best if your sewing machine has a walking foot, but if it does not, that's fine too, because I left enough seam allowance on it that you're not going to have a great amount of fabric to have to go through. You will need a 1/4 inch sewing foot, a regular sewing foot, jeans needles, coordinating threads, scissors, an iron, best press or similar, a seam ripper, gotta have Jack on hand just in case, and the last thing you will need is iron-on Velcro. So,
Okay.
that being said, Lisa's going to go to the sewing machine.
I'm going to do the sewing.
Actually, we're not going to do the sewing.
Well, first we're going to talk about the fabric.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you first a couple of samples that he had made. So he had showed first the black and red one that we have on the walker, but here you can make this in any color coordination that you want. And I like how you got the coordinating fabric here. You found a really cool binder for this one. And here's where you're going to be using the Velcro. So it just folds over the bar, right?
Correct. And also, the binding is totally optional. If you're going to make the binding, you're going to need a 16.5 inch strip of binding. Or for here, you definitely need that.
So you need at least 2 of them,
but
right?
if you're going to bind the whole bag, this part here, this is entirely up to you whether you add this binding or not. I just wanted to show it. If you do that, you're going to need 4 2-inch strips, or however you bind, whatever you're comfortable with binding with. You can use 2.5, 3, however you bind, and from there we can move on to.
So we got the fabrics here. This is what we've chose to do, and we're going to do it all in the same fabric, so we're not having 2 different fabrics. So we've got the main body part and then our pocket fabric. So we've kept it all the same, and the only thing that we did was we made our binding out of a coordinating solid. So you said that the first thing that we do is we do the pockets. We prepare the pockets, correct?
I prepare the pockets first,
okay.
But let me explain. The cutting is so simple. Okay, you're going to need, I'll set this off to the side. You're going to need 2 26.5 by 16.5 pieces, okay, and that can all be cut. You're going to need 2 of those,
okay,
and you're going to need 2 11 by 16.5 pieces.
And that would be these pieces right here. So that's what you're cutting for the fabric.
These pieces here.
Okay.
Okay, and they can actually be cut from one strip of
with a fabric strip,
with
right?
a fabric from strip to strip, yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to need two of these.
All right.
2 sets.
All right.
Okay.
Then you got to get your the interfacing or the fusible for the pocket, and how much you got to cut for those.
Okay. What I do on those is these are 16.5 inches. I cut 15.5. And that leaves a nice area to go around so that when you're sewing, and putting this together, we don't have a lot of bulk.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so then you're going to cut your two, that would be your interfacing or what you were using for your Decobond, and you're going to head and iron those onto the two pocket pieces, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Okay, but now when you get over to ironing on your
This one here
bosal,
too.
oops, excuse me.
So you got this showing it where he's got that space all the way around. So you're going to cut those, go ahead and fuse those, then set those aside.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and then when you cut your bosal inner form, this is going to be an inch shorter all the way around. It's not going to be 26 and a half by 16 and a half. It's going to be 25 and a half by 15 and a half. And this is going to give you that little bit of extra room that,
Like we did it on this one.
like we did on this one. This one we already have prepared. And so
Yeah,
as
so you
you
got
can
that
see,
You got that half inch
you
all the
got-
way
yeah.
around.
So then this helps. This really makes it go quick and easy.
Yeah, and so you're only doing it onto the one. You're not doing it onto both pieces.
Yes, do not add this to both sides,
Okay.
to both pieces.
So once you get all that done, then I guess we could just set that aside.
But we want to take this away.
Yeah, so that was just showing using the bolt, having the bolsel. So of the prep work, you get your two pieces, which would be your pockets, and you're going to go ahead and get them fused with your interfacing, or what we're using is the fusible, like a fusible fleece. And then I guess the next step would be attaching
We're going to add the binding.
add the binding to it. So he had just cut a strip, what looks
This
like
is a 2-inch
2-inch strip.
Folded it in half and then folded it to the center.
Yeah, so just like we do on our normal bindings,
Yeah.
fold your piece in the half,
Make
in
your-
and in, and make your nice little binding
Yep,
piece.
make it, yeah.
All right, so show me which we're going to be doing on one of these.
Okay, so
This
the
is where we'll be
first-
using some clips, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to take our binding, kind of hard to see there with,
Yeah, kind of sandwich it between.
okay, we're just going to add our binding across the top and we will clip, get up there, clip one corner on.
Okay.
Okay, and if your binding ends up being a little bit slightly longer or slightly shorter than your fabric, it's okay. You can either cut it off because this is going to be a flip and fold when we're done with it.
Okay.
And so that piece, so that's
So you can
not-
make it a little bit longer and then just trim it up.
or yeah,
So that's all we're doing.
Okay.
We're just attaching it to that very top. We're just sandwiching the top piece of that fabric into the binding. And what I like about this is because he had made that piece of bosal a little bit slimmer, it's not going to be adding so much bulk to your sewing. Fantastic. I like
that
that.
makes it quick and easy.
All right, so we got this one clipped, so we'll go ahead and get the second one clipped.
Let's see, this one's got a little bit extra. Okay, so we'll clip this one. Get in
You
there.
ready?
I am ready.
Gotcha.
And we'll just bring it on down to the end and clip it.
Oh, you would think I would have had that squeezed. There we go.
So we're just going to work our binding in. As you're sewing and taking your clips off, it'll take care of itself.
Okay. So we're just going to
Okay.
take this to the
So we're
machine
gonna
and
go
just
to
sew
the-
those down.
Yep,
Alrighty.
exactly. We're going to go to the machine. We're going to sew these down. And on this, because I only used a 2-inch binding, we're just going to sew about 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, we'll
Or
do.
Lisa's going to sew about 1/8 of an inch.
Well, normally I think I would go this way. And you like a larger stitch length on this one, right? Because it's kind of like a top stitch.
Yes, I'd like this top stitched. That's my preference.
And then I guess we need to make sure that it caught on the back side. It did. All right, so
Okay.
we're good to go.
So we're all good to go. Here's second side.
And caught on the back side.
Okay,
Good to
your
go.
2 pockets are ready to go. Let's set them aside.
All right.
And now we're going to come back over here to the body of the bag. And there's 2 things I want to go over. Okay, again, this is 26.5 on the fabric. Give you a peek at it. And 25.5 on the inner foam. Okay, and what we're going to do here, and this is up to you. This depends on how well you are, how well your vision is, and how well your. We're going to do a serpentine.
Oh, we're going to do
stitch
the
done.
serpentine stitch.
Yeah, let's get
All right.
these. Let's get this prepared.
All right, so you're going to, do you mark how many far apart, or do you just kind of
That's
eyeball it?
Up. Okay, at this point, it's up to you. You can quilt it, you can serpentine, you can straight line, whatever you're comfortable with.
This is where you want to use your marking pencil.
This is where I want to use my marking pencil and
Okay.
my halfer.
All right.
Aside from cutting. But what I would do is just space it about every 2 inches. I'd make a mark. You're not going to be able to see it on this fabric. 2 inches, make a mark. And 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16.
Okay.
Okay, then we're just going to flip it around. And then we're going to have to start from where we left off on the other side, which it was pretty close. That one was around here. But the object is to sew
Straight
from-
lines all the way down with the
yes,
serpentine?
from your 2-inch.
Okay.
Okay, if you feel comfortable matching it up and drawing the line with the chalk pencil the whole way down to keep you perfectly straight, that's fine. If you just want to mark your edge so that you can make sure that you get to your home spot,
Okay, we can do that.
that's up to you. And in reality, a lot of this isn't going to be showing when we're done, but that's what we're doing with this. I like to, and we are only doing this to one of the 2 panels. We are not doing both.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me do
And
some of that over here.
while I'm saying that, do not do inner form on both pieces.
Okay.
Okay, only one piece. The piece that you're going to sew is going to get the inner form. So I'll bring it over here to Lisa.
We'll try to
and
find those
she
spots.
Lisa can probably eyeball it.
Let's see, which one did you start your 2? Was it on this one?
I have no idea. It wasn't a real deep mark.
I'll tell you what, this is
I was
2
gonna
inches.
say, yeah.
This is 2
There you
inches,
go.
so
There
we're
you
going to
go.
kind of go like this.
Cheating method. No.
Yeah.
These you can put wherever, whatever distance you feel comfortable with.
I'm just using, this is sort of like doing some ruler work here. I'm just got the 2-inch ruler here and we're just going right down beside it.
And this is just to hold everything together and make it, to give it stability.
Okay. All right, so then I would guess I would just hold it against the edge of the stitching here
exactly.
and just go some more.
Exactly, however you want to do it. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, because 26 and a half is not divisible by 2.
So the reason you would do this is because sometimes that foam could lift up a little bit, but at least it's going to be securely on here, right?
Correct. It would not be very fun to make something and then have it fall apart on you.
Yeah. Inches, about right there. Looks like I got 2 more passes. And one more. I need to probably tap that with the iron real quick. Let me smooth that out. So explain what we're going to be doing next.
Okay, next we're going to be taking that piece that has been sewn with this serpentine stitch. We're going to take that, and then we're going to attach the pockets next.
So I had a couple little spots that just bubbled up a little bit, but I'm hitting them with the iron and it's smoothing it all out.
That's okay.
They're going to be not seen, I think, by the pocket,
You're not
though,
going to
right?
see that much
Yeah.
of what you've sewn.
It was just to secure it anyway. Okay, good
that
deal.
That was just a security measure, and then in the end product it will be.
So this is showing the back side, you know, with that showing that serpentine stitch. And this would be a great opportunity to do whatever decorative stitch that you might want to do, or keep it simple and just do straight lines.
Absolutely. Okay, now here's the next part that you're going to have to be really careful with, just so that you don't do like I did on one, is we're going to take and clip the pockets
Okay.
on here. And the pockets are both going to go on.
So you want it to look like it's actually the pocket. You don't want to have this right sides together. You want it to look like the pocket is there.
Well, this is going to.
Because you're going to cover this with the, because this is stitch and flip,
This is
right?
stitch and
Okay,
flip. Yes.
gotcha.
Okay, so I'm just going to get this guy here,
Lining up our edges.
lining up our
Okay,
edges
gotcha.
first. And then we're just going to put a few clips in.
Okay.
And you got that one. Throw one here. And a couple across the bottom,
All right.
just to make sure that we don't end up with an open bottom.
Okay.
Would not be good, because this is going to be a stitch and flip, and remember that the additional binding, if you choose to add it,
You'd be putting it on now. You would just put the back side on, and because you wouldn't be stitching and flipping, you would be putting the back side on, and then you would be clipping it to put your binding on.
yeah. So
Okay.
this is why it's important, and it's important to you get your pockets with the binding facing towards the middle.
Okay. Okay, that's what you were trying to say.
That's what I was trying to say.
This was his boo-boo, but he fixed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, that's the whole thing about when you're creating something and you're making prototypes. Sometimes you make big boo-boos, but the thing is, that's the whole purpose of the creating process, to get everything just right, is that you work your way through them all.
Prototype 1 has two pockets on one on the inside, one on the outside.
Oh,
So I added a third one and kept it, and I thought, well, that can be a secret compartment.
there you go. All right, so now we're going to, do you want me to do a basting stitch all the way around to baste this down before we go to put the top piece on? Is that what you normally do?
That's not how I usually just.
Now you just get the second piece and put over top and just clip it on? What's the next step?
That's not how I usually do it.
You
but-
two, nope, you do it. You tell us the way you do
Okay,
it.
What I usually do is take this and sew it on.
Okay.
Okay, and Lisa had just came up with a very good idea, which I didn't realize,
What?
but
What did I do?
the basting stitch. And okay,
Because it's just securing it before you put the next piece on, right?
correct. So what we're going to do now is Lisa will sew all the way around here,
Okay.
leaving, we're going to use,
Well, we don't leave the opening yet until we put the top piece on.
we're going to use about a quarter, no, we're going to use about a quarter of an
You
inch.
want you to do a 1/4 inch all the way around?
Well, I just do a securing stitch, do a basting stitch around. That
Okay.
would be easier.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
going to hold everything in place.
Yeah.
So when we put the top piece on, to sew all the way out and leave
Yes.
the opening. That's what
Yes.
you're trying to do.
That's what I'm trying
Okay.
to. That's what I'm trying
You
to
didn't
say.
know that's what you had done. Was you were doing
I
like a
didn't-
basting stitch?
Yeah, just do a basting stitch. So
Yeah,
you
it's
can
just
adjust.
holding it in place.
You can just adjust your stitch length to
Gotcha.
hold it in place.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to here. Okay, I'm going to get it.
You're so smart, Lisa.
That's what makes, like we were talking about yesterday on the air, was it takes a village, it takes a whole group,
Yep.
things that come together. So I'm really going to do this as just a simple basting stitch, and we're going to go all the way around. It's going to secure everything in place, so it'll be just a little bit easier for when you go to put the top piece on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about something catching or like your binding getting caught, and then when you turn it out and you find out, oh no,
Oh yeah.
you don't want to get into that situation. So this is just quick and easy.
Yeah, just a big stitch. It's just securing all the places in it. Now this is something that you don't have to do. You could, if you feel confident that you could connect them all together, you could do that. But this is just making it just that little bit easier.
This is where you might want to use a paddle if necessary.
Now also remember, sometimes when you're doing a project that has the quilting on it, sometimes it makes it just a little bit smaller. So take that into consideration, because I'm seeing that it's just doing that a little bit right here, and I'll show you.
Exactly. That will.
I'm going to flip this over a little bit, and you see how it drew it in just a little bit? But I'm going to pull this over, and I'm going to have it in spot. I'll put it in its right place. It's going to be right there on that edge. And I like it that you had trimmed up that batting, so that way you're not going through as much on the thickness.
Well, this gives more people an opportunity to do it because they may not have a machine that'll go through a lot of bulk.
Yeah.
So this way, like right here, okay, now we know our binding is secure and this isn't going to flip up on us
Nope.
when we go to put it
And I'm
together.
just matching up all these edges. No, it's going to be a little bit different on the bottom piece because of this quilting stitching.
And when we lay it on there, we can always chop that off if we want.
Well, see, what I did was I pulled it in.
Oh, you pulled it in?
Yeah, I
Okay.
pulled it in, so all of it's going to line up.
Okay.
And last section. All right,
Okay, so
it is secured.
here is side one, all done and ready. So next we're going to take side 2. And see, this side has it's just a plain piece of fabric, no anything done to it. So we're just going to lay it.
Right sides together, I think.
Or right sides,
Yep.
yeah, excuse me, right sides together. Thank you,
Get
Lisa.
that clipped out of your way. There you go.
And we're going to line up our corners and put some clips here and there.
Okay.
I like to clip my corners
Yeah,
first.
I'm always about the corners first.
Yeah, and then
Let's get the other side then. We'll flip it around.
Yeah.
Get your corners.
because the rest you can always work in if you have to. And this side you're not going to see anyhow. So
Okay.
let's just kind of give it a little
Smooth it all
tone.
out.
It's a little bit.
All right, so I guess we would clip probably where the bindings are, and then you just got to figure out where do you want to do
Where
your...
you want your hole to pull it through.
Yeah,
Yes.
so what did you find was the best place to do that?
I did it down here with all the inner foam.
Okay.
And I'm not so sure that was the best place.
Okay.
Because I have clubs for hands, and you know, my hand against Lisa's, probably there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, but you're going to be pulling through 2 pieces. You're going to be pulling through a piece of Bosal inner form plus your.
So you want to leave it at the top, you know, where it's between the 2 pieces? Where do you want to leave it? You want to have it down here on the bottom?
That's where I've
Okay,
been.
well, let's just keep it here on the
That's
bottom
where
then.
I've been doing it. I just want to make sure that you know you're pulling, even though you're not having a lot of bulk and stitching,
Okay.
you're pulling through a lot of stuff.
All right, so how much do you normally leave for that
I
opening?
leave enough for my hand, but then I found out that I needed
A little bit more?
way more. Yeah.
All right, so we are basically leaving an opening
So I'll
of
put my hand here, and I probably got 2
7
inches.
inches. We got
Okay.
7 inches that we're setting aside for that.
And Lisa, you can put your hand there and see what you end up with.
Well, he has it at 7 inches, so I'm going to keep it at the 7 inches because I basically guess that when we get that done and turned, then we're just going to do top stitching. So
Exactly.
we'll just top stitch it, that opening closed.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get a couple clips. I put the 2 clear clips so I know that's where we're turning. So let's get these edges lined up, and then we will be, well, I'm going to put a red one. We're going to get everything sewed all the way around. You got it clipped the way you want it? Does everything look good?
Looks good to me.
All right, it's got the edges all lined up. So
Yep.
again, we're just sewing all the way around with a normal 1/4 inch foot stitch all the way around and leaving this opening. So I'm going to start here and then go all the way around and end here and do a good back tack on it. Both ends.
Yes, back tack
And back tack.
And with the foam cut the way it was in the interfacings, you virtually have no bulk at all.
Okay, fantastic. All right, we're going to get this done. Now, do you like a little, like if I do a little extra stitching here and here at the where just a,
Yeah, you
where the binding,
you
just
can run over the bindings a little bit extra.
to give it a little bit of, well, you
Yeah.
know what, before we do that, did you want to have like one of the pockets have a pocket where it be 2? Because we didn't even talk about that.
Oh,
We're going to go back a step.
okay. Well, no, don't undo it.
We forgot to do a sew line
Oh,
for the pocket.
We did.
Yeah, so we're going to go back a step.
Let's just take part of it open.
So right now we have it designed where you have just 2 big pockets. But if you wanted to have a smaller pocket, you would just, before you would sew your lining piece on, you would just go ahead and do a stitch down the center or on whatever area that you
Wherever
want
you
to be.
want to divide it. On most of my bags, I leave one.
Yep, so I'm going to show them with this one.
Okay.
This one here.
Oh, there's one. Okay.
This one here, we've got the big pocket.
I got one big pocket, and later with this, we didn't add Velcro to it because we didn't have it, but we add a piece of Velcro or 2 to
Okay.
so that it can stay shut. And then over here we have I just made 2 big pockets. And I
So you
want to
just did a
say, I want to
stitch right
say
down the
why
center.
yeah, I want to say why I made them deep was not so much that you could get more in it, which you could, but you have less a chance of things falling out of it.
Okay, gotcha. So you want me to sew a line real quick on this one here before we finish with the
Sure,
lining?
sure.
All right, so I'm going to get that little pocket that's over here. I just thought about that, how
Yeah,
we didn't do the pocket.
I'm glad you remembered that.
So it can be, you tell me how big you want it to be.
However big you want it to be. I mean, you
Well,
could
this
add.
is about center. Do you want it off center?
You gotta put it. You can do center. It's
Okay.
wherever you want it to be. It can be. You can add more than one if you want, but you just don't want to get it too
All right,
tight.
so I'm just going to do pretty close what I think center is, and we're just going to go
Straight down.
straight down, and I'm going to back tack here at the top. So it just gives it a good securing. And we're just going to go straight down. And then coming off. So that's creating 2 pockets. So now we can go
Okay.
ahead and get that.
So the other
put back
side's just
on.
gonna end up being one big pocket,
And we'll put a piece of Velcro in that.
and then we're gonna Velcro it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So back to the drawing board here on clubs. Make sure you
Start your corners.
let's get our corners. Lay that out a little bit. You want a little room there, okay?
Yeah, and right there.
And
Does
that
that look good?
looks good to me.
All right.
Okay, and
We're going to do a 1/4 inch all the way around, and leaving that opening, that 7 to 8, maybe 10-inch opening.
yeah, it could be 10 inches.
Leave the opening.
It all depends on how bad you want to suffer.
Yeah, when you're doing we're doing not only with the fusible foam, but we got the fusible fleece going on here, so it's a lot of bulk. So you do want to leave a decent size opening so you can get all that through. All right, we're going to do this at a 1/4 inch. So I just took the first clip off. I'm going to do a good back tack here because you put a lot of stress on that seam when you're pulling everything through.
Yep, this one you can sew right off the edge
Yeah.
on.
I just do that because we'll be trimming that up in
And
a
we're
little bit
gonna
anyway.
we're gonna cut the corner a little bit to reduce what little tiny bit of bulk remains when we're done here.
Now I'm starting off a little bit big because it's that shifting, but I'm going to get it right back onto lining it back up and beat on that 1/4 inch. Now I'm coming up onto the first of the bindings, so I'm going to go a little bit of a back tack right there. Even though that's probably not necessary because you are going to be going back over it with a top stitch, so it's going to still secure it, give it an extra bit
but
there too.
It can never hurt.
Yeah. Coming up to the next one. Starting to bubble up on me a little bit right there. Now this is the bottom where we are not have an opening so we can sew all the way across on this one. Make sure all my layers are there.
Whatever you do on this, mostly the pockets are going to cover about 80% of this that you're not even going to end up seeing.
Okay. Let them know I'm probably sewing sometimes a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch just so I can catch it all because that one piece shrinks a little bit. But what's going to happen is because even though that one side shrunk a little bit and sometimes this looks this lining is looking like it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is when you flip it all out because of the thickness of that one piece, it's all going to smooth itself out.
Yeah,
You'll see.
you're not going to see it.
Yeah. I think taking that extra step of basting it makes it all hold together so much easier too. All right, last section. So this is where his clip was. So I'm lining up my edges and coming up to that spot. All right. And do a double check. Make sure you've caught it all the way around. Looks good.
Okay.
Yours.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is carefully clip my corners, making sure not to cut the threads. That would make me very unhappy.
I know, right? All that work, and then you just clip your threads, clip what you just sewed.
I would not be pleased with myself. I know this from experience.
We've all been there.
Yes. Okay, so here we are. Their corners are cut, so that reduces the
bulk, and it's
what
actually
little
going to.
bulk we have.
Yeah, but it's also going to be where you'll have more of a sharper points
Yes.
at each of those corners.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you got your
Especially-
turning tool? I'll find one. He had one somewhere. I got my trusty knitting needle, but he has one that he likes to use.
Well, I usually get it outside first
Okay.
before I start messing with all that. That's just a me thing. You can do it however you like. But see, by leaving
Make me think I made the whole opening too small.
no, this is wonderful. You made the opening perfect.
Okay.
Because one of them I didn't think, I thought I was going to have to throw it away.
Oh, yep.
I made
Linda calls this birthing the baby.
Yes. I think oh my gosh, that was a horrible thing.
You almost got it.
So if you,
It's right there.
yeah, just pull that and.
You are right there. Flipping it, fingers it through, pushing that. Here, look at that.
Look at that, coming right out, okay.
And we're pushing that lining back in because we don't want to see that. That's that pocket.
Yep.
So we're pulling that back out.
Okay,
This
there
way.
we go.
We're pushing too much through. Got to go this way.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Getting there.
Oops, we got that pocket. Kind of came a little...
We can hit that with the iron and get it reset.
Yeah, we'll have to reset that with the iron. Okay.
Where's our opening at? Over there? So here's a knitting needle, so you can get up in here and push all of the, they're going to be on,
Okay.
it's on that end.
Okay, so what I like to do, and I'm sure everybody does, is get in there and
Push out these
I
corners.
start at the farthest corner away from me and push out the corners so I get a nice square.
Yep, look at that. Very nice.
Okay, is that square?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's pretty good right there.
And then I'm just going to take my needle, and as I'm going, I'm running across here just to give it a little extra
Push right there.
push here. We're going to get a nice square corner again.
Yeah, because it's good to do this, to run that needle along that seam, because it pushes it out, makes it all nice and flat, so it prepares it for the next step, which is going to be our top stitching and closing that opening.
Okay, now
Couple little threads that might have got caught in here.
so I'm going to push out this side and get me a nice square corner. And coming over here to the opening. Okay, we came out, so we got one more
This is looking
corner.
very nice.
Got one more corner to do. Let me get under there. And just start up here a little bit.
I wonder if you could have almost caught it from, maybe not. Well, look at you got it.
Let me get a nice.
And I want to thank you, Miss Carol, for these knitting needles. I have used them and used them and used them.
Thank you, Carol. I like this better than my device that I brought.
And I don't even know where they are.
Okay.
They're long and they get to what you need to get to.
I went this corner just a little bit. I'm a fussy one.
There you go.
I want this corner just a little bit squarer. Okay, good enough.
All right, so this
then
is
we're
looking
gonna-
very, very nice. And if you have it where just separate a little bit, when you touch this with your iron, it's going to get that resealed. But right now we're going to work on
Now we gotta close
close
the
this
hole.
opening. So let's grab some clips.
You want to clip it or
Yep.
iron it?
Yep.
You can
We're
do
going-
it either way. So we did a 1/4 inch, so we're gonna make sure we get our 1/4 inch back.
Mm-hmm.
A little fuss in there so that everybody gets
Or we can
it.
tap it with the iron. Do you want to iron
So-
that?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's not necessary. Everybody knows what this concept is, I'm pretty sure. Put some clips across there.
All right. Got
And
it?
is that, so I think that's just the color of the fabric. No, that needs to go in a little bit more. Okay, that one has a little bit of, no it doesn't, okay. Well, we gotta make sure that these are secure.
Okay. Want me to fiddle with it?
Yeah, I'll let you, yeah, you can fiddle with it.
Okay.
I'm an ironer when I go to do it.
Those two are together. This is in, this is there. Got that one?
Lisa's not an ironer.
I got smaller fingers.
Lisa has smaller fingers.
Got that one. And the last one in and here. Got that one. All right,
Okay.
so we're 1/4 inching or top stitching all the way around, correct?
Correct.
All right.
You want to put about a 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, whatever,
Okay.
whatever you like. I use an 1/8 of an inch for my top stitch.
Okay, 1/8 of an inch. All right, so I have this on the 1/4, so I just know that I'm going to just go right here on the edge here, where I should be pretty close, and I like a large stitch length to make it pretty. We're going to start on the bottom, and we'll go all the way. Now, if you didn't want to top stitch all the way around, you could just top stitch this bottom piece right here and be done with it. But we're going to go all the way around, correct?
Correct.
All right. One of the things that I like to do when I'm doing my top stitching is I do not like to do a back stitch. And I like grabbing my threads and pulling them to the side. And then I'll go over my stitching so I don't have that bird's nest that forms underneath. So I got this right here at that about 1/8 of an inch, and we're going to go ahead and start sewing.
And we tried to use a contrasting thread just so you could see it, but it
Typically, we would like to use more of a matching thread, right?
Yeah, but like here on the binding and stuff, I would have tried to match the thread and the top stitching, but we wanted you to be able to see what we were doing as best we could.
Yeah. I'm taking it a little bit slow as I go through this piece right here because we don't want this to come out.
Nope, that's the most important thing there, is making sure that's good. And
now we're just going to now go ahead and go all the way. We got through all that part, so now we're just
so
quarter.
now you can put it on cruise.
Yeah. And before I move forward, I like to make sure that I caught it. And everything looks really good there. Nothing's coming undone.
Lisa's my rock star today for offering to sew this.
Because he wasn't familiar with the M7. I had him practice, but he still wanted me to sew.
I'll tell you one thing I'm going to say. I do want to say one thing about the M7 versus I have a high-end machine myself, but I love the feet a lot better on the M7 than I do my own machine.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. They do have some awesome feet for this machine. And a lot of them too. All right, so we're coming up to the second pocket. See how it rolled a little bit? I'm going to try to get that under.
Scared me there, Lisa.
I know, didn't it? Did you jump?
I was like,
It's because it's going
she's going to
over.
catch that binding.
Yeah, it's coming over that binding. Got a little wide there. All right, so I'm coming up on my previous stitch, and I'm just going to stitch right over those stitches. I usually go in about an inch. Staying right there on my stitch line. Then I come back about 2 or 3. And then cut my threads. And I catch this thread. And then I just catch this thread. You just don't have that big bird's nest underneath if you do that. Okay, there you go.
And we're done. This is the completed project here. And stick.
Got your big- got your-
we got to put some Velcro on it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
that's.
So how was you going to do the Velcro? These are just iron-on Velcros, right?
I bought because I didn't want to see stitches. We have black here, but
Oh, we'll use the
There's
white.
White, yeah. We bought black and white. But
It's whatever you want to do. It's whatever you would want. If you want to put Velcro on here, if you have some of the large snaps, you could put the large snaps on. So the places that, we're not going to sit here and just do it right now, but we're going to show you,
we're just going to show you.
you know, like on these right here, we'll show you where he had placed them. He put the two different pieces so that when it laid over the bar, it snapped into place. On the walker over here, and you can see right here. So here he's got the black one. So what it's doing is just securing it when they do place it over that bar. So you can get the sew in, you could get the iron on. If you don't want to use Velcro, you could use snaps. If you wanted to have ties, then you could tie it. So it's whatever you would want to do, correct, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever, because this is, we were hoping that this would make this for your family members that might be needing to use a walker, but we thought this would be just the most fantastic project for charity. So, so glad he came up with this.
And you can also use it. You can also place Velcro like on the big pocket.
Yeah, to keep that, like if you wanted this to have some, you know, some more stability for closing it in or something like that.
And that's it. That's the whole project. So
hope you enjoyed this one.
it.
And like Linda, if we had Linda here, like what Valerie said yesterday, there's so many different things that you could do with just this design that you can just tweak it and make it your own. But thank you, Greg, for being with us today, and I appreciate you bringing this project with us. This was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for having me, and I enjoyed it. And I hope that, you know, people get out there and make them for their family members and charities. And I just like giving back a little.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.
Bye now.